Welcome to Free Flow, St. Lucia's best and biggest podcast. Let's get it.
John Anthony Francois.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing today?
Good afternoon or evening or whenever these people are watching this. Good, actually. Fantastic.
Physically, mentally, health-wise, how are you doing?
Fantastic. Everything's fine. Here, always being home. You know, being home is always a treat, I should say.
Because you don't live here.
Because I don't live here, unfortunately. Pursuing life goals and endeavors, you have to leave home sometimes and that stuff, but we'll get into that later on, I'm sure.
Currently, where are you?
I go to Stanford University. I'm doing a PhD in immunology. That's in San Francisco, California.
In immunology?
Immunology. I study your immune system and the interactions with cancer, and how we can leverage that for immunotherapies, you know, using antibodies instead of chemotherapy, or using cells, for example, like CAR T cells, etc. Again, I can get into what all that is. But you know, using your own body to fight cancer, not drugs, basically.
That's actually really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so you went to Stanford first then. Second, sorry. You went to John Jay
Right.
first.
And the John Jay College in New York City first for 4 years. I studied cell and molecular biology.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how was that?
That was cool. That was interesting. It wasn't the easiest thing ever, for sure. But living in New York on its own, I feel like can be kind of tough, just because getting used to the environment is very fast-paced. The weather is very different than the Caribbean, needless to say. And then there's like expectations that you kind of, internal expectations, intrinsic and extrinsic, like motivation. You have your own goals you want to meet. And so you put pressure on yourself, sort of, to perform and do well and go to school and study and all that. So these three things combined kind of make it low. It can be daunting. But it wasn't that bad. I had a lot of fun with it. I met some of my closest friends that I still have today. They come out to visit me in California, off and on. And it's an experience I wouldn't trade for anything, honestly. It was a good time. It was a good time. Work is work, but you know, you get to hang out with your friends. You get to see all the things you see on TV, Times Square, the Empire State Building.
Had you been to the US before that?
Yeah, I have cousins and sisters that live abroad, in the United States, and we used to go. Oh, my sister lives in Virginia, so near Washington D.C. And my other sister lives in Morocco, but that's a separate thing. Anyway, I also have aunts and uncles. Huh?
Not Africa?
No. Yeah. That's not America. My bad. You see, there's so much, people are everywhere. My aunt lives in Brooklyn, which is, I stayed with her the first year or so, and I moved to New York. And then I also have family in Texas and Pennsylvania. So I visited them like growing up during the summer every so often, every other year. So that type of frequency.
Okay, let's just backtrack a bit. Did you actually know what you wanted to study by the time you, I guess, were ready to apply for college, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think I definitely knew that I wanted to study biology. I wanted to study, in my mind at that time, medicine, because I had my experience here when I was ill, and I went to Martinique to get treated, and I had chemotherapy, and I also had some immunotherapeutics used. An immunotherapy called rituximab was given to me. It's an antibody. And I thought that was the easiest part of the treatment to deal with. So I was like, oh, this is cool. So why isn't all the treatment like this? So then that's why I was like, okay, well, I want to study cancer, immunotherapy, the immune system, its role in cancer, etc. So from that, I knew, okay, I'm going to pursue a biology degree and see where that goes. Before that, any of that happened, I wanted to be a pilot. I'm sure you remember that. So I was going to go study.
Now that you say that, I just remember.
Yeah, I want to be a pilot. I still like airplanes. I still like traveling. I still like aviation. I consider myself an aviation enthusiast. But yeah, so before that, I was going to go study engineering or something, and then probably end up working for work at the airport or Boeing or, but you know, one of those companies that makes planes, Bombardier, I don't know. But yeah, so that actually switched my kind of life outlook and my track, which is interesting because I think most people, when they start not most people. A lot of students typically when they study biology, they already know, oh, okay, I want to be a doctor, and like they know this from like young. But I wasn't like that from like young. You know, like from really young, I didn't really care about medicine or anything.
Okay, so
yeah,
you're dumb it down for me because
Yeah.
I don't really know too much about biology and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So are you a doctor?
no, so I'm doing a PhD.
Okay,
So I am doing,
but a PhD is doctor.
but a PhD is PhD is a doctor, a doctorate.
Different doctor.
It's a different doctor. Yeah. So I'm not a medical doctor. Completing medical school, sorry, finishing an MD, you are a doctor, a medical doctor. Within the academic sphere, you would consider an MD sort of equivalent to a master's degree, but not really. It's like, it's a professional degree, so it's a little bit different. Whereas a PhD is the highest level of education, where it's like you're actually actively creating the knowledge that people at the master's level and at the undergrad level study. So my role in doing PhD is that I'm trying to understand fundamentally what makes us work, what makes our immune system work, and how we can use that for the development of drugs, for example, or treatment, so that type of thing. So like I'm not doing the prescribing of drugs, I'm doing the work behind the drugs that get prescribed to people.
So you're at the forefront of education and
Yeah.
learning and
Exactly.
discovery
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all
yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's actually with Ronald, we actually talked about Ronald before we started shooting.
Yeah.
And Ronald basically, I'm not sure if it's a PhD he's going for, but he was saying that's what it is for him when it comes to science, because he wants to go into some sort of a research role.
Right.
And yeah, that's basically what it is. You
Cool.
discovering and you at the forefront of the future.
Yeah,
That's really what it is. So that's actually like a very, I guess, interesting thing to say to people that you get in your PhD.
Yeah, it is. For
That,
sure.
yeah, because I'm sure that's a great conversation starter.
Yeah, not a
So, but okay, so you went to John Jay.
Yeah.
You went to I say John Jones, like
boy.
John Jay,
Yeah,
Stanford.
Yeah.
Two big accomplishments.
yeah.
But when you're introducing yourself to people, though, what do you say? Who are you? Because I don't know if you start off with that.
That's a good question. No, I'm just John Anthony Francois. I mostly Anthony. Them days, I don't know, that too. It depends on who I'm talking to. Like, so a quick backstory. I went to Campbell Henry. Growing up, all my life, preschool, primary school, I know my name is Anthony. Even swimming, I know my name is Anthony. Then it's time to write common entrance. And then my teacher, Miss Williams, saw my birth certificate is John. So I find out, is John I have to write for the exam, or else they go mark me. I think, you know what she said to me? She said, if you write your name as Anthony, like, even if you pass for your school, you're not going. At them time, I wanted to go to St. Mary's College. So I was afraid. So I said, all right, boy, it's John. So for the whole year, I was kind of like transitioning into the name John, so to remind myself that I have to write John on the exam. And I did. So then when I got to St. Mary's College, I introduced myself as John. Like, my name is John Francois. And then from there, all my friends transitioned from Anthony, even the Campbell Henry ones, and they start calling me John. So through the whole of St. Mary's College, I'm John.
Really?
Yeah, pretty much. And then when I went to John J, well, A-level for a little while, then John J, I also introduced myself as John, because I just didn't want to deal with, like, changing my name on documents and all that stuff. So up until John J, I'm John. Then I go to Stanford, I'm like, you know what? I go call myself Anthony again, because people
just transition in.
It's crazy, yeah. Like the whole time. So I mean, the whole time, my family always called me Anthony, like no matter what. And so I'm like, you know what? I just prefer that. So I introduced myself throughout Stanford as Anthony. And then there's also like more of a push now, I feel like, for people to be called what they want to be called. You know, like you go, my name is XYZ, but call me this. So I'm like, all right, Anthony. It's my middle name. That's what I'm going to be. So
Because I know you as Anthony.
exactly.
I met you as Anthony.
Yeah, and all the swimming fraternity knows me as Anthony. But then, so yeah, now it's weird because I'm Anthony over there at Stanford. I'm still John in New York. When I come home, even though my friends, I'm John. Like Krivan, that has been my friend since primary school, at Johnny, his, all the guys, like, all of us went to primary school together. And they were calling me Anthony before, but now it's John. So I don't know. Anyway,
That sounds exhausting.
it's a lot, but my name
That sounds
is John Anthony. I respond to both. So
because right now I actually say both.
Yeah.
I guess depending on
Yeah.
who I'm speaking to or whatever.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I was speaking to I can't remember who I was talking to, but I was saying I have a shoot, and then they're saying with who. I'm like Anthony, and say who's Anthony. I say John.
Yeah.
So
Same
it's
thing.
like
It's like 4G. You know, Jaden.
Yeah,
It was 4G.
yeah, 4G.
At time I was talking to somebody, I say, yeah, you know, I go and meet Jaden. They're like, who? Jaden? He went to school with Jaden. 4G. Oh, 4G! Like, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
It's
for
interesting.
sure.
People know you what they know you as. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
But when I introduce myself, back to your question,
Yeah.
I'm Anthony Francois, and I'm a student in the US, pretty much. I don't really give away too much, like not on purpose. I don't really talk about myself a lot. So
Okay.
even this is rare.
Yeah, that's a stretch for you.
Yeah, that's a lot. But yeah, let's do it. It's important though. I think it helps with self-reflection and so on.
Yeah, man. I think you learn a lot about yourself by, I guess, just talking out loud, talking about yourself,
Yeah.
practicing and stuff. But yeah, so you went there, you traveled to a big country compared to St. Lucia. That's a dot on the map. You traveled to a huge country.
Yeah.
I guess the question I want to ask you is, when did you realize you wanted more for yourself? Because a PhD is no easy feat,
Yeah.
I'm assuming. So when did you realize this is what I want to do, but I want to do it on a grander scale? Because I've also seen, stuff where you say like you actually want to come back to St. Lucia and, just make change and make just the system better in terms of, cancer treatment and all that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
when did you realize that this is what I want to do? I want something more for myself.
So I think, well, honestly, even before I had any of the cancer thing happen, going to A level, I just kind of felt like there's more that I could learn, more that I could do than was available to me in St. Lucia. Not that I'm like hating on St. Lucia or anything, but like if you want to pursue,
we don't hate it.
yeah, we don't need it. But it's like I wanted to pursue higher education, and at the level that I wanted to pursue it just wasn't possible in St. Lucia. As is the case for a lot of students who end up going to A level. A lot of us end up leaving because you usually want an advanced degree and you can't stay here for that. So I knew that, and then my whole cancer story happened, and then I switched over to, okay, I wanted to study biology. So I went to the States, I went to John Jay, and I was like, okay, I'm going to get this degree and I'm going to go to medical school. Then I'm going to be a doctor. But then in my first year, I got into research in a lab that studied rheumatoid arthritis. And I like actually doing the research and reading about the science and learning about, different mechanisms within your body and how they work. And I realized that like I preferred that, I think, more than like having to like talk to people and treat them and stuff. Not that I don't like talking to people, but it's like I enjoy the pure science of it and just thinking through things.
It sounds like it's just more you.
Yeah.
It's more you. You more of the researcher type.
Yeah.
Than the helping people and the doctor-patient kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
A big consideration too was that med school is expensive. A PhD is free if you. I'm fortunate enough to have had a green card when I went to the United States, so I could apply for funding, like federal funding from the United States. So like,
wow.
I basically was able to pursue a PhD on NIH grants, which is what the NIH funds PhDs, science PhDs in the United States, medical related PhDs, as long as you're a citizen or a green card holder. So that was part of my, if I can do this and not have to pay any money for school, then yeah.
Would you have wanted to be a doctor, like a
medical doctor? The more I think about it, no. Primarily because, so I do enjoy actually, I would say I do enjoy talking to people and meeting people and helping them out. But what I don't enjoy is the schooling part of it. Doing a medical degree is just, it's insane. Like
grueling.
It's grueling. It's hard. At the end of that, it's hard to get hired. You're paid very little throughout the whole thing. It just didn't really make much sense to me. And I can help people in the medical field by doing medical adjacent studies, and then I think the angle I want to take with this is figuring out how to just improve our healthcare system here. So yeah, I think that's a better angle for me than going to med school and doing all-nighters and For me, yeah. I like school, but I like school that much. Like that's, I say as I'm doing a PhD. But it's different because like my job now is like I'm in a lab, I'm doing experiments that I think up. And it's like I'm not like studying for a class like you would traditionally study for a class. I'm just like kind of doing my own thing within reason.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's actually that's very enlightening, I would say.
Yeah.
So you touched on a few things. So let's just
Yeah, boy.
let's just kind of track back.
Yeah.
You said one of your goals, I guess your biggest goals is to come back and just make the healthcare system here better.
Yeah.
And thank you so much.
I try.
Thank you so much for having that goal, bro.
Yeah.
Because I unfortunately have been, I don't use the word victim, but I've been part of the medical system here and just being in the hospital, staying there for several days and that kind of thing. And
It's tough, yeah. Especially our public
it shouldn't
hospitals.
be so tough.
It shouldn't be that hard. You're already sick or hurting or you have whatever. And then you have to deal with all of this extra
on top of just huge expense. Like just the environment. And I mean, I was not in hell and suffering.
Yeah.
There was one particular time, I'm not even going to say where because I don't want to throw shade anywhere.
Yeah.
But there was one particular time when I had to do a procedure, while I was spending time at the hospital.
Yeah.
And then, so they had to numb my body and stuff. And then when I was done, I ended up falling asleep because, I tired from everything.
Yeah.
And when I woke up, I was in so much pain because like all the medication wore off and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now they were giving me like little painkillers in the drips, but it just wasn't enough.
Right.
And I probably woke up at like 9 o'clock in the night. So there's like everybody practically sleeping, the patients and stuff. So the nurse is not like in the immediate vicinity. And I was pressing the button to get, first of all, I couldn't reach the button.
Yeah.
So I was struggling and I was in pain trying to reach the button. And when I pressed the button, nobody was coming to me.
Yeah.
So like all that is just like, bro, imagine if like I was dying or something.
Boy.
Just like I was in pain, So thank you for making the effort to make this system better.
I appreciate
and
that.
I really, when both of us become millionaires, I will really support you. I will really support you in that because I really think that we need change and improvement in a lot of different parts of our country, but it's up to us to do it.
Yeah.
So and I can appreciate that you want to make the change in that particular department. So yeah, man.
No, I appreciate that, Vitro, because the other part of that too is I think we have a lot of brilliant students here, a lot of brilliant minds. A lot of people go, they study medicine, they study this, they study that. And there's no opportunity for them to actually work here. We have human resources, fantastic human resources, but there's no real incentive for them to stay here, I would say. And they come here and they work and they're part of this, they become part of the system, the weight is already. And they are, oftentimes, let's talk about the doctors, for example. They are the doctors working within this system now. So they're not actually changing the system. They're just
in the rat race.
Yeah, exactly. And they just have to comply with the way things are, and there's not much room for them to do much. And so that's really what I want to tackle.
Yeah, man. And I think that's a very admirable thing to do.
I appreciate that.
So yeah, but in terms of you say you experiment a lot, so it's not your traditional classroom setting and that kind of thing. You experiment. So how does that process go about? How do you? Because you literally said you think up ideas, and you experiment and.
It was, it's a little bit strange, to be honest, for me, being in that environment. Because one, you spend a lot of money. Like, you order things, like, for your experiments.
Is it your money?
No, it's the lab's money.
Okay.
That's a whole other, we can talk about that later. But, like, so basically the lab is funded by a number of grants and people, private donors, whatever. It's within the university, but my PI, principal investigator, is the guy who runs the lab, right? So he's the head scientist, quote unquote. And it's his job basically to get money for the lab so that people in the lab can do experiments. PhD students like myself and postdocs, people who have completed PhDs and are now doing a couple extra years of research to publish papers and make a name for themselves so that they can go out and start their own labs. So it's interesting because a lot of the things that you need to do your science are in themselves very expensive. For example, I give my mice, I have mice. I should say that. I give my mice a number of antibody treatments, and each of those antibodies, like, I don't know, a couple milligrams of them in a tube this big can cost up to like $2,000 to $3,000 US dollars. And I have to order like 5 or 6 of them. You see how that adds up pretty quickly. So scientists get grants from the NIH and other entities in like the millions, right? But the thing is, you burn through that money so fast, it's insane.
But how do you? Sorry to cut you short.
Yeah,
but
no, yeah,
what I was thinking is the antibodies that you have to order.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
example,
yeah.
like I'm trying to think of how to ask that question. Because I don't even know how. Do you order it like you make an order and you write down and they have to kind of make it for you and give it to you, or is it something like you just order?
Yeah, within the field of science, there's already, sorry if I'm getting interference there. Within the scientific field, there are companies that make reagents, different chemicals or antibodies or whatever it is for people like me to use in my experiments. So it's already like set up. We have this thing, it's an app/website called Quartzy that manages, where you can manage other labs' orders. So for me, I have a Quartzy account. All I do is I go on my computer, I order 5 milligrams of X, put it on, it's charged to the lab account, and then it's shipped to the lab.
You have a quota?
No.
Like so in
No.
terms of the amount of money you can spend. No?
I'm very fortunate in that my lab at Stanford is well funded, I would say.
Wow.
And despite all the recent NIH cuts and all the stuff that's been going on, we haven't been affected that much. That's one of the perks of going to a school like Stanford. You have nearly infinite resources, to be honest. That being said, of course, my boss is the one that the PI manages the budget, right? So anytime you want to do an experiment that is like overly expensive, you do have to talk to him about it and be like, I want to do this. I want to spend this amount of money on this. Do you think we should do that? Do you think it makes sense? And then we go back and forth. We talk about experimental design and so on, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So between me and him, it's like we each have a goal for my project that I have to finish to graduate. And there are a number of little questions underneath the big question that you have to answer. Pieces to the puzzle, show evidence of this and that, and you put it all together in a paper and say, this is what I found. And what I do is I think of each little piece of evidence that I can use to make the story that answers the whole question. So in doing that, that's what I mean when I say I think up the ideas for the experiments, I test them, and then I bring him the data and say, hey,
what's your question though?
This is what I show. So my question, okay. So my PI is known for studying a molecule called CD47, like C as in cat, D as in dog, 47. And there are cells in your immune system called macrophages, known as the garbage trucks of your immune system. They eat up dead cells, bacteria, cancer, etc. And what he discovered is that during his postdoctoral studies is that if you block the interaction between CD47 and its receptor, which is called SIRP-alpha, you can activate macrophages such that they eat more cancer. They also found that cancers upregulate CD47 to evade your immune system. So if a macrophage comes along, right, and the cancer upregulates CD47, so there's more of it on its surface, the macrophage talks to it, so to speak, it will realize, oh, this is a healthy cell, it should be, right? And so it just goes away and doesn't eat it. If you block that on the cancer, the macrophage comes along, it's like, oh, this is not a healthy cell, I'm not getting this signal, I'll eat it and get rid of it. Wow. So I'm studying the effect of that on your entire immune system, not just the macrophages. Macrophages are one type of cell. You have other cells in your body that express the receptor for CD47. In an immune competent environment, we don't really know what that does, the blockade of CD47. So that's my project.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a lot there, but I hope, hope that was clear.
No. I mean, it was if they want, they can always just rewind and,
Yeah, for sure.
Give us a little bit more watch time.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay,
Exactly.
so you were explaining what the whole process is in terms of your research and stuff. So yeah, you have your big question and stuff, but how does that process happen?
Like of the question?
No, well, of I guess your experiments.
Oh, I see. Okay, so
I mean, you said about you order the antibodies and all that kind of thing. So after that, like, what's the process?
So after all the stuff arrives, I usually have an experimental design in my head. A simple one is, okay, inject mice with this cell line, which is usually a cancer. Let it grow for 10 days, 12 days, whatever. start treating the mouse with XYZ dosage of XYZ antibody, and then see what happens. That's an example.
Let's pick your observation.
Yeah, exactly. I also have experiments in vitro, which I do with just cells. Like you can have cell cultures, you can grow cells in a dish and look at the cells eating the other cells. We have a cool machine called an IncuSite. It like takes pictures of cells over like 48 hours, and you can see them moving around and eating other cells and so on when you add your treatments. I use that as well. But it literally is me just taking the reagents and going and then doing stuff with them. Playing mad scientist kind of.
Yeah. Literally just doing mad scientist kind. So you could literally, so can you, I mean, of course, I guess you can like just inject somebody with cancer.
Yes.
And they would just have cancer.
Yes, but
I might sound so ignorant right now.
No, it's not. No,
but like,
it's not. So, I mean, if you think about how we give bone marrow transplants, that's kind of what we do. You give chemotherapy to a person who needs a marrow transplant. So much chemo that it destroys their own bone marrow. It makes space for the donor marrow. And the donor marrow engrafts in the person and kind of repopulates their cells, their cellular system, their immune system, etc. That works because you can match a person's... So, to keep it simple, you know how you look for blood types when somebody needs blood? You have a molecule, all your immune cells express, it's called, and all your cells actually, it's called MHC, major histocompatibility complex. Your cells talk to each other and recognize that as self. There are different classes of MHC and different types of MHC, but each of us has a unique signature, so to speak, of MHC. Some are compatible with others and some are not. So that's why certain people can give certain other people bone marrow transplants. But it's a lot harder to do than like a blood type because it's so specific to each person.
If you do a bone marrow, so the bone marrow transplant would be the same MHC they're looking for.
Yeah.
Well,
you have 12 different, like
so does
types.
everybody has the 12 different types, or in general there are 12 different
everybody has the 12 different types, and to find a match you need to have like 9 of them or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Some doctor out there might need to fact check me on that, but yeah, that's kind of hard. I don't work specifically in the transplant space in my defense, but effectively, yeah, that's how it goes. Okay. So when you say is it possible to inject somebody with cancer, theoretically yes. If you find someone with a cancer who is MHC matched with a healthy person and you take some of their cancer and you put it in them, it could engraft and become leukemia, for example. So you can do that. I don't know about solid cancers. Blood cancers you could. Yeah.
Do you have to do that for the mice?
Yeah, effectively I do that. So we have different strains of mice that have different genetic, differences. Mice are a lot simpler than humans. That's why you can do it fairly easily in a mouse. In a human being, it's a completely different thing. That's why I say, like, can you inject someone with leukemia? Yes. Will it engraft? The likelihood is like it's less than 0.1%. Like it's really, really, really low.
Okay.
Really tough to do. But so I have a mouse strain called NSGs, which they don't have an adaptive immune system. There are 2 arms of the immune system: the adaptive immune system and the innate immune system. Your adaptive immune system consists of things like T cells and B cells. They are very specific to your body. They are very specific. They react specifically to challenges to your immune system, whereas your innate immune system kind of just attacks everything that it recognizes as foreign. NSG mice don't have an adaptive immune system, and so you can engraft them with human leukemias as well as with mouse leukemias.
Okay, and
so that's a lot. I'm sorry.
But you could. What did you say the adaptive immune system does?
It's so your immune system is very redundant. What your adaptive immune system does, it attacks foreign things, but in a very specific manner. Okay. So you will have these cells called T cells, for example. T cells are killers. They only kill certain things when they express a specific molecule with a specific activating co-stimulatory molecules and specific cytokines in the right environment.
Okay.
Whereas something like a macrophage which is part of your innate immune system, will recognize that something is foreign and just gobble it up.
Okay.
Without checking to see whether or not it's dangerous.
Okay. Makes sense.
So to speak.
So since we're on the topic, obviously you've done extensive research in the Department of immune systems and just how the body works, illness, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's the other side of that where people. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of segue. If you've ever heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza.
No.
Okay, so he's basically I don't want to say the wrong thing, but a neuroscientist that obviously studies the brain and the mind and that kind of thing. And what his basic message or philosophy is that you can heal yourself with your mind and determine and depending on just your level of thinking, your frequency or your vibration, that kind of thing. I don't know if you're familiar with that jargon.
A little bit, but yeah.
But that's his basic philosophy, right? What's your opinion? We're talking opinions. What is your opinion on that kind of thing where you can, since you've done so much extensive research on just how the body works, what's your opinion on healing yourself using your mind?
Well, the question I just tend to ask myself is like, is it rooted in science or not? Not science as a whole, but is it rooted in evidence? Like, is there solid, reproducible evidence to suggest that this is possible?
Okay, so...
And if the answer is no, then I don't believe it. If the answer is yes, then I do.
Okay, but from what he's saying, there is solid thousands of reproducible evidence that it can be done.
Okay.
I mean, I have a couple of his books. I've read his book because these things have always just been interesting to me. Part of the reason why I wanted to have you on because I want to hear the other side of things. But the books are really interesting. If you want, like, I can like send you the name and you could listen to the books and stuff. But But yeah, it's very interesting, and just from what he said, he has, his evidence and all that kind of thing. He has a huge following and that kind of thing. So I would actually urge you to just have a look into what he's saying, not to try to push you in the direction of what he's saying, but just so that you have more of a feel for what you're saying, so that you can give me form an opinion of it. Because I would really love to hear someone in your field actually give me an opinion of what he's saying, because it does seem really interesting. What he basically says is you let off a certain frequency depending on your mood, your level of thinking, and that kind of thing, and different frequencies influence how your body works and reacts to illnesses and that kind of thing. Now I can kind of see it.
It makes sense.
That's the thing.
No, so the thing is, I understand that. I do think there's more to healing than just the hard medicine that you take. Like, your physical and mental well-being obviously has something to do with it. And then I do believe, like, talking about, partly that's why I was interested in, like, Ronald's interview where he was talking about God and the universe and all that. I do think there are forces that control things beyond what I think a human being can understand. And that has a lot to do with healing and so on. I think, again, proving that kind of thing is difficult, and when I say proving, giving hard reproducible evidence that you can say, okay, there's no like illogical jumps between the amount of evidence that someone is able to provide and what you think is actually happening. But I do believe, like, I mean, I won't go out on a limb and say like, oh, he's just not right. You know what I mean? I also don't like that kind of attitude in a lot of hardcore scientists. Science is a field in itself too, where even within the field, people are always like kind of just poking at everybody else's studies to say, oh, you didn't do this right, so that must be false. So you didn't do this. And something like 40% of all published data is like not reproducible.
Wow.
By the way. And again, there's a whole host of reasons for that. We can get into why. But what I will say is I would be interested in reading more.
Yeah, man, 100%. Well, I will
forward that.
I'll forward that, because I have probably like 3 of his books, because he has like a collection. I think I have about 3, and it's actually really interesting because I do see that when you're in a good mood, obviously just
everything's better.
Everything's better. And then when you're in a bad mood, it's almost like you get sick. You start to you can program yourself to start to feel sick and start to get depressed and all that kind of thing. So I do believe, and what he does, which makes me kind of believe what he says more, he does it in a very extreme way. So it's not just a thing where, okay, just be happy and you'll heal yourself.
Yeah, right.
It's literally a thing where there's a process. You have to sit down, you have to meditate, you have to learn to control your mood, and not just control your mood, but control your vibration, and then just be in tune with your body and your breathing techniques and all that. I don't know if you have you ever heard of Wim Hof?
No, I don't.
Okay,
sorry.
So that's basically a guy that he basically developed a lot of different types of techniques to breathe that enable different things.
Okay.
So there are techniques to breathe that make you sleep. There are techniques to breathe that make you more energetic, that make you hold your breath longer, that increase your immune system or the functions of your immune system and all that. So he uses certain techniques in that, in addition to other things to to heal yourself, not just physically but emotionally, trauma and different things. My next question, since we're on that topic, do you think that trauma, emotional trauma, influences health?
Of course, 100%. What do
Really?
you mean? Yes, because you carry these things with you for throughout your entire life. It's always on the back of your mind. It always plays upon, like you holding on to it such that, and that's why I believe in like not letting anything. You mustn't hold on to anything too strongly. You must let go. Even if it's like someone's done you dirty, like super dirty, like dread. You don't have to let go immediately, but over time and over the course of your life, you need to learn to let go, because at the end of the day, it only hurts you.
I think it's more processing and, as you say, dealing with it, but processing it.
That's what I mean.
I don't think you should you can just let go.
When I say let go, I don't mean just forget about it.
You have to heal.
I mean like you have to heal. You have to do work to heal. You have to talk about it with a therapist or somebody you trust very closely. You have to really think about what happened. You have to try to understand why it happened. Sometimes you don't get an answer for that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I think just like, what I'm saying is not to bottle it up, not bottle it up and put it in the back of your mind, because that affects your health too. Because stress affects your health, right?
Yeah.
You know that.
Now,
you sleep, you need to meditate so you can relax, breathing exercises and all them things. Like, of course, 100% affects your health,
so
your physical health.
That's why I keep leaning towards that, because that's just well put.
Okay.
That's well put. Because I believe that it's a combination. So it's a combination of the scientific method and outside of the box thinking. I believe that we live in an age where we're way past just the scientific method. We have to think out of the box and think of different things, because people in the Eastern world don't really use what we use in the Western world. So obviously, it's like we have two halves of a whole. And
exactly.
none of us want to.
Exactly. Just relinquish anything to the other. I understand that. I think, honestly, I totally agree with you. I think there's two components to it, and each side mustn't be so ready to just denounce the other side.
Exactly.
It really is like a combination type of thing. So.
Yeah, man. So when you go back and you start dealing with your rats,
I have to talk to them nice.
Tell them to meditate.
No, it's true. Even like talking about like vibrations and personality and just the energy you give off too. Like, there are studies that show, and I'm talking about like scientific studies, that like even when dealing with mice, they respond differently with male handlers than they do with like female handlers, for example. I don't know why.
Is it necessarily positive or negative?
It's not necessarily positive or negative, it's just different.
Okay.
They respond differently. Now you could chalk that down to a number of things. The way you handle it, the presence of it just being a man, and maybe you giving off certain pheromones, chemicals, whatever.
Because animals sense these things differently than humans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there is documented research that shows this. I'm sure if you were to look, you could demonstrate something similar with regard to all other types of animals and even each other.
Yeah.
And I think that in itself plays a fundamental role in health, your environment. The way I look at it is like, okay, the earth, this might seem a little bit far out there.
I like the far out there idea.
Don't want to, cause problems there. The earth is this like system, right? And we have a lot of miniature systems within like what you would call ecosystems, rainforests, the ocean, different parts of the ocean, etc. Human beings. We human beings are part of the earth. You need to find ways of connecting with the earth. And that benefits your health and your overall well-being. You know when people say touch grass? I believe that's powerful, just going outside and putting your foot on the earth or at the beach in the sand, swimming in the water. I realized that, for example, being in school, in the US, there are periods of months at a time where I will never like walk on grass with just my barefoot.
Wow.
And then I come back here and I'm at home, I walking outside, I go on the beach, and I just feel different. Better, yeah, better. Happier. And I think that has something to do with, well, when I'm home, yes, but it's not just when I'm home, it's also when I'm at other places where I can connect with the earth, like touch grass. I think that has something to do with your well-being. Like we are part of the earth, and it's important to maintain the connection with the earth. And I think that have a lot to do with your health. Now, I don't know how to explain beyond that, but it probably has something to do with what you were talking about.
It does make sense.
And breathing and, you know.
Because there's a thing called grounding. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. So, so all you do, you take out your shoes and you go on something that's natural. So dirt, sand, grass, whatever it is. And that's said to kind of balance your body out. And I don't really want to use the scientific terms because I don't do butcher anything. But that balances your body out. And one thing I felt like you missed out when you said you know, you have your different ecosystems, your forests and stuff. I don't know if it's because of our level of intelligence or the way we evolve, where we so independent that we kind of remove ourselves from nature.
Right.
But we are a part of nature. We born from the earth. You check it. So we build our big buildings and skyscrapers and concrete and roads. Literally separating ourselves from nature, our vehicles. Bro, before everybody used to walk on, you know, the dirt.
And humans, not to interrupt you, but humans also tend to see themselves as superior. Which in itself, I think, is part of the problem. Like,
I think
you know what I mean? I feel like sometimes we overcomplicate things such that we not even, like, you know, the fact that you say that we remove ourselves so much from nature is part of what's hurting us.
I think
and why we hurt the earth too.
I think so, exactly. I think so too. I think so too. I have an idea that maybe after if you remember to ask me, I'll say it. But I feel like I know why global warming.
Okay. You have the solution.
I don't have to move.
Formula.
I have the formula. But I don't have to move the video on YouTube.
It's true.
Yeah, but let's move forward a little bit. Studying, you know, getting the PhD. What's a big misconception that people have about your success up to this point, or your level of success?
Me personally?
Yes, or just
PhD
people. A PhD in general.
Well, I don't know. I think people tend to think that PhDs are kind of these stuck-up people in a corner that are nerds and they don't have lives and, you know, they're only concerned with their work and studying and so on. But that's not true. I mean, some people are like that. It's true. But the majority of us are just regular people that have emotions and have families, and we go out and we work very hard for the things that we do and what we have. And the reason PhDs, for example, can strongly denounce ideas that are opposed to their own, I think, is because of all of that hard work that they have to do to get up to that point. They feel like, oh, some random person with a Google account can come and search something up in 2 minutes and then try to prove me wrong. They tend to feel attacked and then they lash out, and that's why people will say that, oh, scientists are stuck up and they think they know too much and blah, blah, blah. I think that's not true. I think a lot of scientists are a lot more open-minded than a lot of people will give them credit for. And I think we need to be aware of that. Just like, don't put everybody into the same bucket. Always like try to talk to a person and see where they think.
100%.
Like even me talking about vibrations and the earth and thing now, a lot of people wouldn't think that I think like that.
Exactly.
But I do. Because I'm open to like ideas and really thinking about it. Because there's a lot of stuff that science can't explain. All right. You know what I mean?
I think that there are a lot of ignorant people out there. But I also think that there are a lot of people that are less ignorant. But the most ignorant people are always the people that get the most attention.
Yeah.
So I feel
that's very true.
So I feel like that's what we just always see. So on social media, we'll always
polarizing.
we'll always see the hater first.
You know, the kind of polarizing opinions that evoke some kind of response in you. That's what's gonna pop up on your feed. Because that's what blows up.
Exactly.
And bro, the role of media in everything right now. Oh my god, that's we need a whole next podcast. We need like 2 days of discussion for that, because it's crazy how, like you're saying, the loudest mouths get the most attention, and
Yeah.
most of the time, a lot of the time these days, unfortunately, that's not where the substance is. You
Exactly.
understand? You know, Chronics have a line in the song like "substance over hype."
Overhype.
You understand? That's so, dog.
It's so true.
You
That's
understand how relevant that is to
That's
everything.
so true, guys.
Yeah.
And you said about sacrifice though, like there's just you sacrifice free time, you sacrifice all kind of thing, to get to that level of PhD.
Yeah.
To get that level of getting a PhD and things. So and people don't realize that. And I feel like you should like not get upset obviously, but take pride in the fact that you are at that level.
Yeah.
And somebody literally for true cannot just come and tell you you're wrong just so. Because obviously them doing 2 Google searches and you spending hours, weeks, months experimenting stuff. Obviously, you know a little more than that person.
Yeah, exactly.
But speaking of sacrifice though, what would you say that you've had to sacrifice to get to where you are? Because it's never something for nothing.
Yeah.
You always have to sacrifice.
Yeah, I think I sacrificed time with my family heavily. COVID was kind of a blessing in disguise, if I'm allowed to say that. Some people are stressing. But during the COVID period, everything shut down in like March. And St. Lucia remained closed for a number of months, if you remember that. I came home because everything went remote and online. At that time, I was a junior in college, so 3rd year. I was able to come back to St. Lucia and do all my classes and stuff from here. And during that time, I was able to spend 6 months with my mother and my father that otherwise I wouldn't have been able to spend. And my parents are older. My father passed away recently, like 2 years ago. Rest in peace. And I'm thankful that I got to spend that extra time with him. So I think what I've had to sacrifice really is a lot of family time. And even when just like talking to my family on the phone, like on WhatsApp and so on, sometimes I'm really busy. Like I can't answer WhatsApps or call them or, take the time to do that. And that makes as much as I feel bad about it, it also makes them upset. So there tends to be sometimes some tension there because of that. But in the end, it will be worth it, hopefully. But these are like some of the sacrifices I've definitely had to.
Well, this
do.
that's up to you though, whether it's worth it or not.
That's true.
I do think that you have, for me, I think the formula is consistency, constant improvement, and having an impossible idea. Now, when I say impossible, I mean impossible for the current you to achieve. Obviously, you have to develop yourself and grow into that idea. So yeah, you already have the impossible idea.
Yeah.
Fixing healthcare.
Boy. Yeah.
You already have the impossible idea.
Yeah.
You constantly improving and you're consistent.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I feel like you will.
Yeah,
you
man.
will. 100% you will.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. So let's move forward. I mean, at 17, was it at 17?
Yeah, 17. 17 years old.
You developed non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
How you know that, boy? You did your research.
Research.
Yeah. Yes,
Let me tell you.
Yes.
I research.
Yeah.
Yeah. You developed that.
I'm impressed, actually. Yeah.
How was that?
Well, that was a weird time.
Give me the rundown and I'll interrupt you.
Yeah. I don't even understand really how that happened. Normally, so in the beginning, okay, let's start from Form 5. That was like Form 5 going to A-level time. So it was the end of Form 5. I write TXE, all that was fine. Like I was normal them time. Looking back at it now, some of this stuff is what I realized after having been through everything. That I was like, oh, that was a symptom. So like after Form 5, in that summer, I had like a kind of a lump thing in my throat. It wasn't always there. Like it was just like a little something I just feel in my throat sometimes. You know when you're sick?
Outside or inside?
Inside. Okay. But you know how like you just get like a gland when you get sick? Like you have like when you you're about to get a fever, for example, you can feel your lymph nodes like swollen. It was that kind of a feeling. But it wasn't there constantly. It was up and then it was down. Like talking in a period of weeks. Like 1 week it might be there, the other week might not be there. I think around late July, I don't know what happened, but it got to be that there was 1 week where it was like really big, like really noticeable. Like even like when I was swallowing food and stuff, like it was giving me a little bit of trouble to swallow because I'm like this isn't normal. And then early August time, first couple of weeks in August, there were one or two times where I had like fevers, like just random fevers. Like I didn't have colds or any other symptom, like just a fever, mucus, yeah, sorry, cold, yeah,
People don't know
not cold, mucus or anything like that. I clearly didn't have like an infection or anything. I just had like a random fever at night, and it would kind of disappear the next morning, and that would happen every like other day type of thing. But then that kind of went away too, like mid-August-ish, and I was like, okay, well, I'm all right. And then so September. When does A-level start? August, September?
About September,
We do registration August, September start. Okay, so I'm going to school now. I just focus on the next thing. You know, I graduate SMC, I go into A-level, let's see what happens. You know, I want to study math, physics, and chemistry. That's what I wanted to do as the engineering thing. That's what I wanted to study. Then I go to school, and I just keep doing things as normal. I swim, I play football.
I'm just letting you all know, the guy was, the man say he go and swim like it was a hobby. Yeah. The guy was a national, not just national swimmer, but you've competed in some of the biggest international, interregional tournaments in the world. So you were. I was
a very good swimmer.
You were swimming at a high level.
I was swimming at a high level and all that. So the next thing I guess I will notice is I will get sick more often than I would have like actual infections. So like a cold or something. Again, sorry, cold.
Mucus.
I don't want to say flu, but like, you know, common cold type of thing.
Yeah.
And I'd have that for like a week. It was kind of slow to go away, but then I would recover, and then I would get another one. And then I was also like, I had this like lingering cough that wouldn't go away. So we kind of thought it was just like a infection that I was getting that wasn't really going away. So I went to the doctor 1 week for that. He gave me some antibiotics, paracetamol, whatever. And then I got better, and then it would happen again. Then I go to the doctor again, and that must have happened like 3, 4, 5, 6 times. In that period too, we also discovered that my blood pressure was high.
Just now, before you continue, you went to the same doctor.
Yeah.
So after the 4th or 5th time, did the doctor not like say?
Well, yeah. So that's what happened. Yeah.
Okay. So your blood pressure. Continue your blood pressure.
My blood pressure was higher than normal, but that was. I mean, that kind of runs in my family as well. So we were also looking for a cause of hypertension.
Okay.
So I did like an abdominal ultrasound. You know, that's the thing they do when like women are pregnant and you want to see the baby. So they did an ultrasound of my like stomach to see if they could see anything there. That was clear. Clear. I know that. I did an X-ray of my chest, I think. Nothing really abnormal came out of that. The doctor, after going back to the doctor for a number of times, he suggested I do a CT scan because I guess I described to him the whatever feeling I had in my throat, and then he was hearing some sounds in my chest, I guess. And what else? There was a day I had a fever and like I had a rash like all over my body. I just didn't go to school for like a week because that rash. Up to now, I don't know what really caused that rash. I think that was just an opportunistic infection. That later I found out like you have lymphoma, your immune system is weaker. So the part of the reason I was getting sick all the time is because like that was happening in the background and my body just couldn't fight all the little things. So I had a rash all over my body, and he was like, okay, you know, let's do a CT scan of your chest. And I was like, okay. So I did that.
And what's a CT scan? Which one is the CT scan?
Yeah, it's the one.
They put the dye through you?
Yeah, they kind of do that in all of them. But so there's a big machine. It's not a magnet.
Yeah.
It kind of spins on the inside and shoots you with X-rays to create a 3D cross-section of your torso.
Okay.
And you can see all the structures inside of your body.
Okay.
And so I did that. And they do have to inject you with a dye, a contrast radioisotope, so they can see all the structures.
I did that, but I just wanted to know if that was the same thing.
You did that Tapia hospital?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Tapia.
Did you do one of your brain or your chest, or if they're looking at your brain, it was probably an MRI. But
I think I did my chest because they did the dye and like I was feeling like I was peeing on me.
Yeah. That's how it is. Yeah.
And I was feeling like I was tasting
it. Yeah. That's a radioisotope.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So they did that, and then I think that's where all the trouble, quote unquote, began, because now a lot of stuff. I think my mom hid a lot of things from me in the very beginning because I think she got the initial report from the CT scan and it said something about neoplastic lesion / lymphoma / cancer, something like that. And she was like, oh, this is scary. So she got a second opinion from another doctor, and then I went to see him, and then he did some stuff on me, tried to take a fine needle biopsy of one of my lymph nodes. Basically, they stick a needle in there and they just tried to take a piece of it. And that was inconclusive. So then that doctor, in his infinite wisdom,
how did something like that become inconclusive though?
I think they didn't get enough. So they used just like a very, very small needle and they just put it in and they tried to suck out some of whatever's there. And they put it on a slide and they want to look at the morphology or the shape of the cells to see if they look cancerous. Because you can stain them with various dyes that tell you different things about the identity of the cells. And if you don't get a good sample, you can't really tell. Because between here and there's a lot of trauma. The cells coming up the needle, you put them on the slide, you put them a cover slide. Yeah, they kind of die, or the shape, you get a lot of what they call artifacts on the slide where it's like, what you're seeing might not be actually the cell morphology. It might be like just a result of the cell being put on a slide and moved around. So it wasn't conclusive. Meaning, I guess they stained it for certain things, certain markers, certain molecules, and they realized that it might be something, but they're not sure. So it's not like definitive proof. So that doctor, in his infinite wisdom, was like, okay, you should probably go to Martinique or to the US based on what this looks like, because we think that you might need some treatment that like you probably can't get here, or might be more difficult to get here. Or he was like, in St. Lucia, that was honestly what he was thinking. In St. Lucia, it probably takes too long for them to diagnose and figure out what this is. And if that's the case, then it's best you just go over there and let them do their thing quickly and let them figure it out. Because it's one of those things that he's like, you can't waste time with this. So that's what happened. So next thing I know, I was on a boat going to Martinique.
Wow.
I didn't, that was probably like, I got that news like the Friday, that was probably like the Monday. So I didn't even know about any other, like all that time I'm just, my mother just told me, my mother told me stay home. I'm like, okay, I'm staying home. School is going on. I'm not going to school, but I'm relaxing. I was just playing game and I didn't really, that's the thing too. I wasn't feeling very sick, I didn't lose a lot of weight per se. I was feeling like tired, but only when I go like to swim, for example. It was tough to swim and I was like, okay, I know what's going on.
You know what's going on because you just know you're sick.
Yeah.
Or you're not well.
Yeah, I know I'm not well, but it wasn't like I could still sit down here, I could still play my game, I could still eat. For the most part, I was fine.
And in terms of appetite?
I had appetite all the way up until that point.
Okay, so...
Up until the first going to Martinique, I was like still eating food and so on.
And then, but you still didn't know anything?
Yeah, I still didn't know anything entirely. Okay. But then right before we had to go, I asked my mother, like, what's going on? And then that's when she showed me the paper with the report. And I read it and I'm like, okay, I don't really know what this means, but okay. So she was like, we have to go to Martinique soon. Like,
okay, but wait.
I know, it sounds strange, but from my perspective, like I genuinely didn't really know what was going on until...
but did the report not say, because I know sometimes it could be a complicated word that you just don't know what the word is.
It was speculative. It had the words, it had neoplastic lesions indicative of question mark lymphoma, question mark neoplasm, question mark.
Like it had guesses.
Yeah, it had the stuff listed out, but it's like question. So we don't really know what it is until you like biopsy it.
Okay.
So that's why I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, okay, it's probably serious, but it's not. Then that time I was watching House MD. I don't know if you know about the show.
That's the worst thing to watch it,
but I thought it's so interesting.
It
so
was.
I was thinking like lymphoma, sarcoidosis, lupus. There's a number of things that.
But how did you feel though when
I saw it?
Yeah. Because you still wasn't sure about what it was.
I didn't know how to feel. I was like, well, okay, let's see what happens. For me, I think everything was kind of just a big nuisance. I just wanted to get back to my life. I just wanted to go to school and play and whatever. I didn't really think too much about it. So, yeah, questions about that?
Nah,
yeah.
Okay,
so then come Monday, I think it was a Monday or Sunday, we're on the boat and we're going to Martinique. And then we get to Martinique and then we check into this like hotel. And then we call, there was a number that we got to call some person in the hospital or whatever. And they were like, oh no, you should go to the hospital. Like now. Like, oh, we were waiting for you. Like, and it was like, oh shit, should we go now? In hindsight, I didn't really need to go right then because I was physically okay and we were just settling and stuff. But anyway, we went. So then to urgence, the emergency room. And I was like, oh, we've been waiting for you. John Francois? Yeah, I was like, yes. Okay, so then they took me in, they do all the regular stuff they do when you go to emergency room, take your vital signs, they take some blood, they take whatever.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Between...
Yeah, they did it right away. That's the difference between them and some... Yeah, it's... They have more resources to be fair, but yeah, no, that's a different... That's
what I'm saying, like, whatever, you can have more resources, but just the urgency, bro.
Yeah, I think the work ethic is
I went somewhere, I'm just saying, I went somewhere.
I wonder where that is.
I went somewhere for collapsed lung.
Uh-huh.
A collapsed lung. And I sat there for like 2 hours, bro.
Oh, that's
with
true.
a collapsed lung.
I forgot you had that. That's
Yeah, dog.
crazy.
Yeah.
What was that like? Sidebar. Could you breathe? What does that feel like?
It wasn't so bad that I couldn't breathe. And I don't think it gets so bad that unless like it's extremely collapsing, like it's pressing on your heart, because that's what happens. And that's why it's dangerous, because the air can kind of collapse your lung, and it puts pressure on your heart, and that can cause heart failure and all that kind of thing. But for me, it wasn't. I didn't even know like anything was too bad. Like I was normal. I was training.
Yeah.
I worked out.
You was training for collapse lung?
Yeah, bro. I trained for collapse lung. I mean, it happened like kind of during training, towards the end of training. But like, and I was just feeling like discomfort, like a slight discomfort, and then I was sitting in like an awkward position on a chair, and I felt like air just passed through my chest, and I was like,
oh, shucks.
I jumped. I was like, what? That felt so strange. So that same day, I set a doctor's appointment. I went to the doctor one time, like now for now.
You went to bed after that with the collapse?
No,
you went straight to the...
So it happened the night. So I slept. I felt uncomfortable and thing, but I went to bed, woke up, went throughout the day up till like 12 in the afternoon, and that's when I felt the air and stuff, and then went to the doctor. Doctor checked my breathing, and he's like, bro, one of your lungs not... one of your lungs not thinking. And I mean, I know the doctor, so he was kind of... I don't say casual. I don't use the word casual, but he was speaking to me like just like how we talking to you. He was like, bro, like one of your lungs not getting air, and I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? It's like you need to go to the emergency room now. Right. Don't go home. Don't do anything. Go straight to the hospital. So I had to go to the hospital. I went home first, but I had to go to the hospital, and then he explained to me like they have to put a tube in your chest and different thing. I'm like, what? They have to peel like a give you or something. Like it's a very hard thing to process when you've never done any huge procedure or anything like that. But it's not about me. It's about you.
I just wanted to know. So similar thing. So I went to the urgence, they take my blood, whatever. And then like, okay, we have to keep you for the night. So I say, real? One time, like say we arrived in Martinique like 6 p.m. or something, got to hotel 7, went to the hospital like I guess 7:30, 8 o'clock. And they're like, yeah, we have to keep you for the night. I'm like, what?
Damn.
For the night?
Wow.
And then they're speaking no French. Although I speak a little bit of French. But I didn't want to just be in this foreign place in a hospital by myself. It was weird. But anyway, that's what happened. So they took me up, and they said my family can only visit me at 1 o'clock because that's visiting hours. So the next day, 1 o'clock.
Wow.
So anyway, I went up. They took me, put me in a room, a private room by myself. It was actually pretty nice. But of course, it's a hospital, so it's like, I don't like this. And
then they put hospital.
Right, and then they put you in the cancer wing. Right. So like they have a lot of older people and very sick-looking people, and it's like, it's a little bit traumatizing, to be honest. But then I just went to sleep. Honestly, I was in the hospital. The nurses, they come and check on me.
They had you on anything? Like any
no,
medication?
they had an IV in my arm, but just like saline. They didn't have any medicine that I know of. I don't think they put medicine in it, but yeah. And then the next morning, so I wake up, this man comes in the room speaking only French. He was a nice man. Actually, I wish I knew his name. He was like one of the... not a nurse, like an orderly. You know, they like clean things. They clean. They change your bed sheets. So he was like, okay, time to take a shower. In French, but he's like, time to take a shower. I'm like, shower? But I don't shower. He's like, shower. I'm like, alright. So I go in the shower. I take a shower, come out. He changed the sheets, everything. And then they brought me breakfast. And then the doctors came. One of the doctors came. He said, hello. His name is Minian, Dr. Minian. I think he went back to France now, but he was a really nice doctor, and he didn't explain much, but he's like, we're going to take some samples for testing, blah blah blah, whatever. And I'm like, okay. So then this nurse comes in with this big tray of needles and thing, and well, one needle really, but like also like all her apparatus she needs, and there's like 22 like vials, and they just take in like
what
22 I counted vials? 22 vials of blood.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, that's a lot. She's like, yeah, you have to test. And like they test for all sorts of various things, I guess. Basically, they did all the tests that I did here on my blood and whatnot. They kind of redid it when I got there. They did all of that. They did, I think, an echocardiogram, which is where they look at your heart valves, the way they move and flow and so on. They take your echocardiogram. They did another CT scan in their own machine. And then they did all of that. And then my mother and my sister came. And then, so that was, say, the Monday. At that time, the boat, what we took was Express Day Zero. They only went between Martinique and St. Lucia on Friday and Monday. So, or was it Friday and Sunday? Something like that. I think it was Sunday. So I got there on the Sunday and I was just there for the whole week. I went into the hospital and then I was there Monday, all of Monday. And then Tuesday morning, Melissa and my mother came to visit me.
Melissa is his sister.
Melissa is my sister. Sorry, came to visit me throughout that time. But I was just kind of there in the hospital. They had TV. I was watching football on TV. And things. Yes, yeah. And they were doing their tests. And then so the doctors came after all of their tests, and they were like, "Okay, everything looks normal, basically. So we're going to do a bone marrow aspiration from your sternum." So they just put like a needle here and they pull out some of your bone marrow. Sounds painful. It was painful. It wasn't that bad.
It was painful?
It was painful, but it wasn't that. They numb it up and thing, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And so they did that. They did a smear of the bone marrow and they looked at it and they're like, that also was normal. They're like, but you don't need to stay here. I know it's expensive. I had insurance, fortunately, at that time. So they covered like a lot of that portion. And fortunately, yeah. And so they were like, okay, but you're like physically okay. You don't need to be in the hospital. Because I think they thought I was sicker than I was when I came. That's why they said go to hospital immediately. They're like, and I know it's expensive to be here. So you can just go, you stay in, we had the hotel room for a week. You can stay there and we'll come back and we'll do whatever. So they did those tests. And then after another set of tests, they were like, okay, everything looks pretty much normal to us except for the mass. There's a mass here in my chest. So they're like, well, we'll do a guided CT.
Wait.
Sorry.
You didn't mention the mass in your chest.
Yeah.
So at what point?
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Yeah, that's a good boy. Yeah. Sorry. The whole reason I went to Martinique is because they did the CT scan and they saw nodules in my chest where they characterized as masses, and there was one that was bigger than the others. So that's why I guess radiologist kind of looked at it and called it lymphoma.
Okay.
Thought it was lymphoma. And so on the sheet or whatever that this information they sent to Martinique was like, he has a mediastinal mass. This is your mediastinum, this part of your chest.
And a mass.
And there was a mass in there that was apparently pressing on my airway and my, esophagus and all that.
That was the lump, or that was just something else?
No, the lump was up here.
Okay, yes.
Your lymph nodes are like connected, right? So that is like the primary mass, you would say, and then it was like, it's a lymphatic disease, so it was like already there. So I guess it was kind of creeping its way up. So yeah, he said like, you look normal, everything is normal, your blood work, everything apart from the mass. Like earlier on when they did blood tests in St. Lucia, my blood counts were weird and off. But then whatever reason when I got to Martinique, they did it and they're like, all this looks kind of normal. So
I feel like because you're into a real hospital.
Yeah.
You were just relax.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it was. Yeah.
Maybe
that's fine. Yeah. Honestly, yeah. So I thought for a while, I was thinking, you know what, maybe I'm just fine. And maybe this is just all, I'm hoping this all just goes away. And then they're like, we'll do a radio guided, a CT guided biopsy of the mass. So they put me in another CT scanner, and the radiologist, I guess, or whoever it was, there's this guy, he was talking to me in English. I don't know if he's a surgeon or what, or a radiologist. Somebody out there who knows more about doctor specialties, correct me. He had like a big needle. Ever seen a biopsy needle? Anyway, it's like a big needle and you put it in and they like take samples of whatever it is. Like, yeah. So they numbed me up. I was awake for that. But that actually didn't hurt at all. And he like put this gigantic needle in my chest. I wasn't seeing it, by the way. Like they put a cover there. So he's there. He's standing here. I'm talking to him. And I can't see what's happening here. And I know he's doing stuff.
Are you feeling it?
Yeah, a little bit. But he numbed it up really well. So I felt like the sensation, but it didn't hurt. Yeah. And he's like, if you feel any pain, just tell me. And I'm like, okay. So I made it through that. So I was in the CT scanner. They take a big needle, they kind of stick it in, and he just took pieces of the mass, whatever. And then after that, they're like, okay, we'll wait for the biopsy results, and you can go back home, and we'll have a result in about a week or two maybe, and then we'll call you, and we'll move forward from there.
Go home as in St. Lucia.
Home as in St. Lucia, yeah. So then after that was the Monday, Tuesday, and then, yeah, when Wednesday they did that guided scan thing, and then Thursday we just kind of relaxed and enjoyed Martinique a little bit, walk around town, and
So during that time, though, while you were waiting for the biopsy, what was going through your mind?
nothing really. Honestly, I really was not. I think my mother and my sister did a very good job of calming my fears. Like, I didn't really, as far as I'm concerned, I'm the type of person where I'm like, if I can't control it, then it's no use worrying about it for too long. So I was a little scared, but I try not to think about it too much, put it that way. So I just enjoying, I'm in Martinique, whatever, we'll have a good time. By the way, a lot of things happened, I forget. Dr. Daniel was also in Martinique.
At the time?
At the time. Happened to walk outside and see my sister downstairs. When my sister was on the phone with my father. My father was in New York. That's a long story.
Dr. Daniel is our close friend's father.
Yeah.
Okay, so big up Jassy, big up Dr. Daniel.
Big up Renako.
Big up Renako.
And yeah,
he's a cardiologist?
He's a cardiologist.
Oh, okay.
I think. Right, guys? Yeah. So he took, I think he went out for dinner with my mother and my sister that evening or whatever, and they were talking and whatnot. Anyway, side note, I just wanted to say, yeah, he was there. So I went home to St. Lucia on the Friday on the boat, and then after that I was just there for a week. I went that following Monday. All of this is like in and out of school type situation. I'm missing classes. I saw fellas was giving me jokes saying, yeah, boy, John dropper.
Yeah. Spoke up that joke.
Yeah. That Monday, so the Friday I came back to St. Lucia, it was a weekend, and Monday I went back to school for that week. And I think the following week, again, all that time I'm feeling okay. Like, I couldn't really exercise heavily because I was like, whenever, it's like I'm normal, but whenever I start playing, like I get tired fast, like real fast. So I was going to school, trying to stay away from infections and so on. And then we got an email from the guys in Martinique, and they're like, okay, we have a result. Can you come back maybe this weekend or, soon, so we can discuss, what the next steps.
So they're not telling you the result?
Yeah, they don't tell you the result via thing. But again, I didn't think too much. But I figured the fact that they're calling me back means they figured something out, because otherwise they would just say, no need to come back, right? Yeah. So then I went back, and at this point, boy, the timeline is kind of crazy. It's like November, December. So my father lives in New York, and my father had come early for like Christmas time. So we went to Martinique. So my father came first to Martinique. That was December 1st of 2014. I remember that. And then we went to the hospital, and then the doctor took us to his office, and he said, okay, the biopsy shows that you have lymphoma, and we need to start the treatment today. And he's like, and I'm like, okay. What? At that point, I didn't really feel sad or upset or anything. I was just like, well, I guess that's what it is.
But
and so the next part I'm not adding is during all that time, I'm looking up lymphoma and sarcoidosis and all that kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, the worst thing that this could be is treatable. So I think I just need to relax myself and just see what happens. Yeah.
Okay, because that's what I was thinking. Yeah. I was like, when they told you lymphoma, did you even know what lymphoma was?
Yeah, I did at that point, because that word had been thrown around so much that I was like, okay, let me see what this is. Let me read about it. And I learned more.
And sarcoidosis?
Sarcoidosis is a completely separate condition that had nothing to do with me. But it was one of the, when doctors do a differential diagnosis, they kind of go through what it could possibly be. And so, he said that, and I was like, okay. So from the doctor's office, they took me over to the ward 4B, where they have inpatients. Not inpatients, sorry.
Honestly,
like daytime patients that come and get treated and leave. Yeah.
Even before you continue, segue. I feel like in your ambitious goal to improve the healthcare system, I feel you all should find better names for different rooms there.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like, dog,
room 4B
from the time you enter a hospital, you just feel like you died.
Yeah.
And that's not just in St. Lucia, that's just everywhere. From the time you enter a hospital, you just feel like, oh my God, I'm dying.
Yeah.
Ward A, Ward B.
I agree.
Like,
it's a little
let's do healing room.
Let's
do, super treatment.
Yeah. Super treatment.
Super treatment room. Like, let's not have everywhere white.
Yeah.
Let's have some colors.
Like they do for the children's hospital.
Let's have purple. Let's have healing colors. Okay?
I don't know if you've ever been to children's hospitals.
No, I've never.
Like, they make everything colorful and nice.
Yeah,
like a
it doesn't have to
playground
be
for the children.
colorful. It doesn't have to be RGB. But let's
a little nicer, you know.
Let's have gardens and make people feel like they're actually getting better and not just on a wheelchair. You just bright lights in your eyes everywhere. You know, you die like
medieval type situation.
But anyways, sorry to cut you
I think
short.
hospitals also in certain parts of the states are trying to move in that direction too. Because I can talk about Stanford Hospital. It's very nice. Like there's a nice like you say, a garden on the roof. The patients can go outside and walk, and it doesn't look like a hospital. It kind of it feels like a hotel to me.
Exactly, and I feel like that's how it has to be though, because I feel like it contributes to your recovery. Because when you're in a good mood and you're not feeling like, oh my gosh, you know, even if it's a slight contribution, especially when you have something that's, I guess, chronic in a sense, like every percent counts.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything counts.
Exactly.
But
so then I went to the other ward, Cat B,
Ward A.
Cat B, 4B, sorry.
Oh, 4B.
And they sat me in a room, and I was at this point I'm in a room with a bunch of other people who apparently are there for treatment on the same time. And then there was a balcony. This was on like the, I don't know, 5th, 6th floor of the hospital. The hospital is tall. 5th, 6th floor of the hospital. There was a balcony. We went out, and my mother was there, and my sister was there. Like, oh, you know, it's not a death sentence, you know. We're okay. And I guess they were just kind of coping with it a little bit. I think also in that time, I might have been a little bit blind to how much that affected my mother and my sister and my father, like how that affected my family.
Yeah, because
I self just, they're like, boy, I try not to deal with any of this. And I'm just like, kind of wish this wasn't happening.
But I mean, it's happening to you, eh?
Yeah, I know. And everyone's so concerned for me. And sometimes I'm like, I just wish y'all just relax. Honestly, like I just kind of felt like that.
I know how you feel.
And I always, that's the other thing my mother said. I always insisted, oh, I'm fine. The whole time all that happened, I'm fine. Like, don't worry about that. But I felt like my mother kept taking me to the doctor. And at some point I felt like she almost wanted something to be wrong with me.
Yeah.
But she was seeing other things that I didn't know about. For example, like when I was sleeping, apparently I was like wheezing, like making a heavy wheezing noise, and she was worried about that.
But then at that time when you were going through that, because I remember that particular situation, like, you know what? To me, that happened. Oh yeah, it did, because I just said, I keep thinking you were in same form as me. Because when you were going through that, I was in form 5. Because I just saying, but you were going to college, but you were going to Alpha. Because I remember the school was saying like, you know, give contributions and stuff. So I remember, boy, like for me it was like it was kind of a sad thing. Because in your ignorant mind, when you were a child, you feel like, boy, cancer, when you have cancer, you die. Yeah,
that's what I thought. Honestly, how I thought too.
So I was like, boy, that is our partner. We swimming together every day. We training together. So like, I always used to make it a point, like, to ask my mother for $20
I didn't know.
No, I didn't even think of. I wasn't saying it like for that, but I was just saying like in my mind, like, boy, I have to contribute to the cause and different thing. So it was just a strange situation, but
so and then after that we started the treatment. So I didn't have, so they had to place a catheter in my aorta, which is not
the
my
big
aorta.
vein.
That's not true. Aorta is the artery.
The big
Vena cava, the big vein. Again,
superior
doctors, y'all doing anatomy and thing, y'all going to eyes and stuff like that. So anyway, basically it's hair. I still have it, by the way. Hair.
You still have like
the catheter you're going into here. I get it flushed and so on every so often. I should have it removed. I just haven't yet. As a whole other thing. But anyway, so basically they have to put this in here, and it has like a top where you can put a needle through, and it's like resealable type of, you know how when certain bottles for pills, I don't know if you've ever seen like a nurse put a needle through the top of a bottle and they pull it out and it seals itself. That's kind of what this is. And so it has
above
that.
Your skin?
No, it's under my skin. Anyway, I can show you later. It's hair, and it has a line that leads straight into my big vein here, and that allows the medicine to circulate throughout my body. So I didn't have that yet, and they were like, the best method is this, not this. So what are we going to do? Okay, so they said they're going to introduce a catheter into my femoral artery, vein, again, anatomy dog. I want to think it's an artery, but whatever. Femoral artery.
Vein is what carries deoxygenated blood, no?
Right.
And the artery is what carries oxygenated blood.
But to me, they only insert these things into veins, not arteries. So I don't
know.
Anyways, my femoral something, basically that's like between your legs here. And they inserted a catheter. This is just a long line all the way up here.
How did that feel?
I didn't feel that.
What?
Honestly, they just numb this part and then they put it in. And they put it all
What?
here.
And you didn't feel
I didn't feel. Yeah, I
No.
honestly didn't really feel it.
That's crazy.
I felt the incision and the cut and everything, but like that going in there, I don't know how they
And
guided
they have
it.
like a camera or something?
They have, boy, I don't even know how they did that. Honestly, I don't. I
Wow.
genuinely don't know.
That's
Maybe there is a
crazy.
camera at the end. I don't know.
Okay,
I
so
don't
they
know.
did that first.
Yeah, they did that
Okay.
first. So they admitted me to the hospital that night, that same day, and then they gave me this line. And then that same night, they gave me medicine through it. The first round of chemo, like through that.
Okay, so
And
you
they
did
did
your
that-
first round that same day.
That same day, and that was overnight. Like I was in the hospital, and that's all that happened while I was sleeping. So I woke up and I was like, okay, I feel fine. Fortunately, I didn't have any adverse reactions or anything. I just got it, and then I was okay. The next day, they discharged me, and they said, okay, we have to do about 6 to 8 cycles of that, our
That's
chop
every day?
therapy. No, it's like once every 21 days. So one chemo infusion, 21 days pass, then you do the next one.
So you have to go back.
So I had
and
to go
forth.
back and forth. So I was going back and forth between Martinique and St. Lucia for that reason. Over the course, honestly, in hindsight, it didn't take that long. But
That's
anyway,
like
all that
8
was happening.
months or something like that.
Yeah, I started December 1st. Again, that's why I remember the date, December 1st, 2014. And by March, my last treatment was March 18th. So that's like 4 months. So yeah, I had that first treatment. They sent me home. After that, I went back to St. Lucia for 3 weeks until it was time to come back and get the next one. And then over the period of that first course, then I realized I started getting like my nails got darker.
The first course.
Yeah, the first treatment, my nails got a lot darker. You see how this nail is still dark? That never changed back. But all of my nails were like that color.
Okay.
My nails got darker on like the 13th day. My hair started falling out. Like I think I was in the shower and I do that, and like how much hair just stayed in my
That's
hand.
after the first thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
All the hair just stayed in my hand. I'm like, oh!
Yeah.
At that point,
How did
that's
you
when it
feel?
was real for me. Yeah, that's when it was real. I was like, damn, I am actually sick. Okay.
But how
Nothing
did
to
you
do. Like,
were you stoic about it, or did you get emotional? Did you?
I don't think I ever shed like genuine tears, but I was certainly emotional about it. I was just worried, I guess, put it that way. Yeah. I don't know how else to describe it. At that point in time too, I also wasn't very good with expressing my emotions at all. So maybe I just bottled it up and moved along. But I definitely was sad. I'm like, damn, okay, this is what's happening. So I think I just tried to distract myself again with like PlayStation. Like PlayStation was my best friend at that time because I had that time there Netflix was just starting on like to do the subscription thing, and I realized, oh, I could get a Netflix subscription. So I got that. It was $5 at the time, $5 EC I pay.
What?
Crazy. Yeah, because originally the Netflix subscription was like $1.99
Yeah,
or
okay.
$2.99 US
Right now
dollars.
that's at like $7 or $14, something like that. 14 US.
Yeah. So I got that, and then I saw they had Fresh Prince. I watched the whole seasons of Fresh Prince, like all the 6 seasons of Fresh Prince, I think. And I was playing PS4 with my friends online. In the beginning, and I think nobody really knew anything, except for somehow Jaden 4G knew. I think it's because my parents were close and the people were talking and whispering. Again, I don't know how the information spread, disseminated on the outside. To me, it's just I don't know who know and who know who don't know. And so like at a time I think we were on like a PS4 called we're playing pro clubs, you know. And do you know like I was saying the fellas were kicking, yeah boy John, you give up on school, you do score kind of thing. Jaden was in there and Jaden knew. So the fellas kicking in there, but then Jaden himself like, wait John, you okay? Because I know the fellas kicking, but I know you're dealing with a lot there.
Children,
So Jaden is so funny, but
such assholes.
yeah, no, the fellas were mean. Yeah, but I mean that's understandable. If I wasn't there, I would have probably done the same thing. That's just how we are.
Yeah,
That's SMC. You must get kicks. Well, I was in the level, but SMC fellas, you must get kicks.
Honestly, yeah.
So then afterwards, I guess the news broke after I got the official diagnosis, and then I guess that's when they did all the fundraising and stuff. Because I mean, again, I had my insurance, fortunately, that paid like 80% of the cost, but then the other 20% was like not hundreds of thousands, probably like 50,000-60,000 dollars. Because everything they bill is in euros.
In euros, so is it 50 in euros?
Now it's like my math not good.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's say 20 to 25,000 euros.
Okay.
So whatever that is in EC, I just kind of
Maybe like-
multiplied by 3, but whatever.
Is it 3?
It's 3 point something?
No,
No?
like 4, not 4.
Or maybe it's 4 now. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah,
but yeah,
anyways,
let's say 20,
anyways.
25,000 euros. That included that. And when I went back the second time, they had to do the surgery for this, which again, I was awake for, but that was kind of cool. They had like a camera and a thing, and they was looking at it, and I did. And again, they blocked this part.
But
So
you
I
could-
couldn't really,
could you
but I was
feel-
awake the whole time. Yeah. They just numbed it up, and they made the first incision with a scalpel while I was awake. I was like, ah, and they were like, you can feel that? Like, yeah. And they're like, okay, we will wait a little while.
Put it into action.
Yeah. And then they're like, you can feel that? Like, oh, like okay. And then they went and they did it. And then 2 days after that, they gave me my first treatment through this thing.
So wait,
And then from there,
you had the leg thing,
the leg thing. That
And
was the
then-
one night.
and then
The next morning, they took it out.
they took it out.
Yeah.
Okay. So your next treatment,
Yeah.
your second treatment,
Before the
that's
next
when.
treatment. Exactly.
That's okay,
So I
okay.
went like a couple of days early to go to a separate hospital to do the surgery in Martinique to put that in.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to the hospital where my doctors were
Mm-hmm.
to give me the medicine.
Okay.
And then after that, it was just kind of back and forth between Martinique treatment. I did my treatment, I think, was always on a Tuesday or Wednesday. The first couple times I went by boat, and then afterwards I didn't really like the boat. And fortunately, there was Inter-Caribbean, not Inter-Caribbean, Air Antilles, whatever one flight between St. Lucia and Martinique. It was relatively cheap at the time. So all that had to factor into the cost as well.
Yeah,
So I
boy,
would
that's
fly. It was cheaper to do that than to just stay in Martinique the whole time, to be honest. So I think that's why we did that. So we would do that. I'd fly in on, like, say, I think when maybe it was the Monday. I get the treatment on the Tuesday, go to the hospital during the day. I'm just there the whole day. Because I come, they take my blood, they make sure everything's all right. Then they give me the treatments. The treatment itself from like 12 p.m. to like 5 p.m. Like they just different drugs they put on the IV bag and they just let it run.
And then
After that, I'm done.
So when you're done, you just go back to St. Lucia like the next day or something?
Yeah, the next day I would go to St. Lucia.
How do you feel physically though, like in terms of like let's say
Yeah.
your second, third, fourth
Yeah,
dose?
the chemo drugs, they worked. There was kind of a delayed onset to their action, so to speak. So, for example, nausea and so on, they gave me antiemetic drugs and like Imodium for anti-diarrheal, and they gave me different like prophylactic antibiotics sometimes, just to make sure, because my immune system's weak, right? So they didn't want to get me any infections while I'm like traveling through these public spaces. I wouldn't actually feel that bad any weaker or any more tired than I actually was. I think I was very fortunate in that regard, actually. There was one time, though, during the whole ordeal where I did get sick. I don't know whether the infection was from the port that hadn't healed yet or whether I ate something. I think we ate like resin Martinique, so we ate cheese that has a kind of live cultural,
Yeah.
live bacteria type
Bacteria, yeah.
thing. Maybe I shouldn't have eaten that. But then I got very sick around like New Year's time. And I was losing a lot of weight and they were concerned. So I went to the hospital and then they did some blood tests or cultures or whatever. They figured out I have an infection. So I had to stay in the hospital with Tapion for a week in a private room by myself because I had to be in a room by myself
Yeah,
because
'cause
I
you
can't be
can't
around
get-
other
yeah.
sick people. That week at Tapion, by the way, I think cost $10,000 in itself.
Yeah,
So I got a bunch of, and that's cheap for now. That probably is like 3 times the price if you had to go today.
it is.
Hey boy. And so I had to get a bunch of basically vigorous antibiotics every day for that week. And for the first couple of days, I was getting weaker and weaker and weaker. Like, boy, I was worried. Like, boy, make it through. But then I started getting better.
How did
each day.
you feel during that time when you kept getting worse?
Yeah, that time I felt actually bad. Like, that's when I would say I felt the worst. I felt worse during that time than during the whole cancer prelude diagnosis stage, all that. That infection time was really bad. I was like, boy, I was actually weak too. I got really, really, really small.
In terms of
I didn't have an appetite. Like,
in terms of how you felt in terms of your survival though.
yeah, I think I kind of tried to ignore it. I never, at that point in time, really thought, boy, I might just die here right now. But after I got out of the hospital and I got better and I thought about it, I was like, wow, I almost died. Because every day for like, the first 3 or 4 days, I couldn't eat anything. I was weak. They just gave me IV drips in bed. My throat was hurting for whatever reason, so I couldn't swallow anything. and my blood pressure was dropping steadily. And so it's like, yeah, boy, if the antibiotics and stuff didn't start working when they did, might not be here right now.
Yeah.
So that was probably the worst. That was the lowest point. Yeah, boy, that was the lowest point. And I remember that time it was sad because New Year's, I wanted to at least see New Year's, but New Year's I was in bed in the hospital. I saw fireworks somewhere by La Toc there, and out the window. It was pretty sad. My family couldn't even stay with me or anything. I was just by myself. So that was real sad. That was a hard time.
I can imagine you. I can imagine you, but it's like you kind of have to watch both sides of it.
Yeah.
Because I can imagine you just being there throughout New Year's. You never yourself can really be by people.
Yeah.
And it is pretty sad.
Yeah.
But I could also imagine your family side.
So I wonder, that I have no idea. Maybe you should interview them too. I don't know what they were thinking during that whole time. I've never spoken to them about it, by the way. Any of them.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, my family, boy.
I mean, it's not really crazy. Because I don't think I would either.
We tend to avoid emotional discussions. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, because I can imagine your family side because your family too cannot enjoy New Year's.
Exactly.
Thinking about you and how you doing. Probably can't even sleep.
Exactly.
Yeah. Your mother probably going off. Because I also remember my mother ended up meeting your mother, wherever it was, I can't remember. And then she was saying, my mother was saying she was feeling so bad because your mother couldn't, she didn't even want to say the word cancer.
Yeah.
So every time every time she was talking, she would say the non-Hodgkin lymphoma. She would say the whole thing all the time. And I was like, wow, boy, that's so unfortunate. It's so sad. So that's why I felt like it was almost my duty to just do my part. But anyways,
yeah. But then so after that happened, fortunately a few days afterwards I got better. I started eating again. I don't think I realized how much weight I had lost, because after I got back home I stood on the scale and I was like, boy, what? I lost like 30 pounds almost, 35 pounds. That's crazy. I was looking I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, wow, that's the skinniest I've ever seen.
I remember
myself.
Seeing you.
I was like, boy, wow. So for that first week, my throat was still kind of sore. So my mother gave me custard to eat. That was nice, actually, custard. I know I should get the custard and porridge, like oatmeal and everything. And then afterwards, I could start eating food normally again. And then it was time to go back to Martinique. And then I went back to Martinique and the doctor was like, so I heard you had an infection over there. You had chills and so on. So they checked me out, see I had some thrush, whatever. I was like, okay, I'll give you some antifungal medications, some more antibiotics, and we'll do Neulasta. Neulasta is a drug that you give after you get the chemo to boost your immune system production. It's a factor called not MCSF, GCSF, granulocyte colony stimulating factor. It basically just makes your body, it stimulates your bone marrow to produce more neutrophils, more immune cells, so that you're better protected.
Okay.
So what they realized is that the chemo was getting my regular blood counts very, very low after each cycle. So there's always a period where I could get bad infections. So from then on, they started giving me the Neulasta to make sure didn't get that kind of infection again. And then from then on, it was just kind of smooth sailing, to be honest. Really? I just had every treatment. After the 4th treatment, they did another CT scan to assess everything. And praise God, after the CT scan, after the 4th cycle, the doctor's like, well, we don't see anything anymore.
Wow.
I was like, you're healthy now, so we're still going to continue the last 2 to make sure. And then that's it. And then, so I did that, the next 2 cycles, and then I finished. I came back for the last one. And after that, the doctor spoke to me and my mother, and he's like, yeah, you're okay now. And he was like, you can swim? She was like, you can swim? He's like, yeah, not immediately, after the month or so rest and so on, but yeah, afterwards it should be fine. And then he told me about looking out for recurrences and follow-up care and so on. Go to my doctors regularly, check my blood. If I ever have fever or something again, check. Since then, I had 1 or 2 instances where I had a cold and a fever, and I'm like, boy. But fortunately, it was just a cold or a common cold. Sorry.
In terms of
So yeah. Sorry, yeah.
I said, boy, I tried and processed that.
Yeah, because I need to talk to people about that for sure. I never actually really talked to people. Yeah. So thank you for this.
Yeah, man, my pleasure.
Yeah.
But I know you believe in God. Did you ever pray your way through that? Did you ever?
Oh, of course.
What was your experience relating to God, and just I guess revolving around that entire situation? Just how was it when it came to prayer and faith and all that kind of thing?
My prayers were just deeply personal all the time. Just me talking to God directly, saying, Lord, thank you for waking me up this morning. I pray that everything continues to go well. Amen. Type of thing. To Jesus Christ and in Jesus' holy name I pray, amen. Like that kind of, that's overly simplified, but it's just like trying to be thankful for the little things and that things will not go in worse. And I would say my prayers every day.
Let me tell you,
throughout the whole thing. Just the little conversations.
That's thank you for waking me up this morning.
Yeah.
Probably it was so deep in that time because you literally, don't even know what going to happen.
Exactly. So it's like, thank you for waking me up before I go to bed. Say my prayers before bed. Thank you for keeping me safe throughout the day, etc. And that's it. It was just me and God. I wasn't saying many to be honest, I wasn't saying like rosaries or anything like that. My mother definitely was.
Yeah.
Her friends all of them, they have
the
prayer warriors. Kind of my name was in prayer circle, all kind of thing. I don't even
trust me. In the school there? In the school there?
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, man.
So all that. But for me, it was just me and God, just conversation, just talking. Thanks. Thank you. Pretty much a lot of thanks.
What happened after though?
After? Well,
when they told you you were okay, you did, I guess, the last couple of treatments. What happened after that?
Well, I came back to St. Lucia and I was like, okay. After the last treatment, it's interesting, weird timing. My last treatment was March 18th, but my birthday is March 11th. So on my birthday before that, I was just like, my father was there. How come that man was there? Boy, that man was there a long time, actually, now I think about it. Because he was living in New York. Maybe he just stayed for that whole time. I don't know. I never really thought about that.
The man's sick, bro.
He was there the whole time. No, he was there the whole time, for sure. Okay. So I had like a little chocolate and thing and non-alcoholic champagne and happy birthday. Here's to many more. A long life. I remember my mother said a long life. I was like, wow, boy, that hit different because
it did.
Long life for true. Yeah. And I had a little celebration.
Imagine, bro, that just put in life into perspective for you guys.
Yeah. From there, it was upwards. So after that happened, then we went back to Martinique, had the final treatment. The doctor was like, okay, we finished. Be on the lookout, be safe, go to your follow-ups and so on.
Wow.
Then after that, I got better and I was healthy. I still had lasting kind of effects from the treatment. Like I had tingling kind of in my extremities. That's like nerve damage from the drugs. My nails were still black for like a couple months, but they grew out. My hair grew back slowly. It grew back kind of straighter than normal. It wasn't just that. I don't know if you remember that. It grew back like straighter than normal. I wasn't really in control. I was like, all right. And then carnival season had started. I remember I was just so happy to be able to go out again and see people and stuff. So then I went out with my friends. Every fete I feel I was there, boy. And I feel, boy, I did a little bit. That's also my 18th birthday. After the March was my 18th birthday. So I just turned 18 so I could actually drink. So I started having fun with my friends and drinking and stuff. In hindsight, probably not the best thing to do. But whatever, you live in life. In my mind, boy, maybe I don't have long. So let me just enjoy myself.
Maybe I don't have long.
No, I said that. No, honestly, I said that for true. Boy, maybe I don't have long. So let me just enjoy myself. And yeah, I was at every fete. I didn't jump carnival, but I was at every carnival fete, everything with my friends. My friends were out, happy to see me. And yeah, it was good times.
Yeah, man.
And then after that, it was just back to school. Then I went to A-level for like a year pretty much, and then the second year A-level started and I was like, I didn't feel like A-level was going anywhere, so I wanted to move out and go to the States, and then so I tried to figure out how I could get to the States, and then I went to John Jay, and then all that happened after that. And I come back and visit every so often, and yeah, that's how it goes. That's definitely a life-changing point, to say the least.
How
turning point, I don't know what to call it.
How likely is like a relapse of sorts?
They say if you don't relapse within the first 2 years, then the chance of relapse drops significantly. And then up to 5 years, if you don't have a relapse, then you're considered cured. So I'm considered cured. Praise the Lord. And that's partly why I have this thing still, is because I wanted to take it out earlier, but the doctors were like, well, there's still technically a relapse risk for 5 years, so we shouldn't take it out for 5 years. So it's like, okay, I just kept it in for 5 years and kept flushing it and so on. And the 5 years passed, but then I just kind of haven't had a chance to do it yet. So I'm currently right now in the process of switching over my main healthcare from like here to the States and like booking visits with doctors and so on. I haven't been able to do that yet because I need to get my records from Martinique, believe it or not. I still haven't done that. And I have to send it to a center in the States where they translate it officially and then send it to my doctor, the whole thing.
Yeah, okay.
And we've been trying to get in touch with Martinique to get my records, blah, 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 and that's been roundabout. So, I suspect I'll have to go to Martinique to get that myself. Serious. So that's on the cards for me next. But that's why I still have this. And like, yeah, ever since then, it's just been trying to live my life. Go back, swim. I never really went back to swimming. To be honest, two things I think I kind of regret. I never went back to swimming ever just because I felt like, boy, all that happened during swimming and it was just a weird time. So I kind of just didn't want to go back there. Because I think mentally I associated it with bad stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't go back there. And then also we never officially said thank you to everybody for like the funds and for fundraising and thinking about me. So thank you everybody, for real. Seriously, I think that was a big mistake. We never actually went out and said that. So I think a lot of people don't know what happened to me.
Yeah.
So hopefully this sheds some light on that.
Yeah, man. I will make a clip.
Yeah.
Just this.
Yeah.
So this is the clip. Let's start over.
Okay.
This is the clip of John Anthony Francois saying thank you to everyone who contributed, who prayed, who helped.
Sincerely,
who
thank you to
play
all
game
of you.
with him.
Play game with me.
Everything to just make them.
Just visited me. My friends used to come over and visit on Fridays too, and just play game in my room and just talk. And I really remember that. That was like good times. That also helped you get through it.
Yeah, man.
You know, my friends just come and laugh and talk as if nothing's wrong.
Exactly. As if nothing is wrong.
Yeah. So that helps a lot.
Yeah, man.
But thank you sincerely to everybody for all of the fundraising, for all of the prayers, for all of the support. It really helped me get through it. And I'm doing my utmost to make sure that anybody else in St. Lucia who has kind of an experience like that has a better time than I did. Hopefully they won't have to leave their home to go and get treatment, to leave the island completely, because that's still how it is too, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
People have to go to the States and wherever.
Actually, I have an aunt right now, suffering from breast cancer, and she had to do a double mastectomy, they call it, and she's now in Trinidad getting treatment and stuff. So, yeah. So that's
still have to fix that.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, man. But yeah, man, we
spend a lot of time there, boy. We can still talk.
No, we could still talk. And let me tell you, I kind of cut it short too, because I kind of don't want it to be too long.
Yeah.
But yeah. On a lighter note,
I
like to do.
Anyway, my bad. What are we doing?
On a lighter note, I like to do.
Afterwards.
No. We just finishing.
Yeah.
I like to do a little game.
Game.
What it is quick fire questions. Simple game. All you do, ask you questions, could be options, could be anything really, and you just answer as quick as possible.
Okay.
All right. I don't know how many I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start. Ready? All right. Morning person or night owl?
Both. PhD students don't sleep.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah.
Faith or science? Which do you lean on when life gets tough?
I can say both again. More so faith, but rooted in science. I put it that way.
I feel that.
Yeah.
One word to describe 17-year-old you.
That's a good one. Courageous.
Good job.
All right.
One book that changed your life.
One book that changed my life? There was a book I read, boy. I wouldn't say it sounds kind of weird. But so there's a book called Bad Blood, but it's about, if any of you all know about Elizabeth Holmes and Stanford and how she created this device that was supposed to be able to diagnose people from one drop of their blood, but it turned out to be a sham, and she defrauded a bunch of people, and she's currently in jail.
Anyway, I think I've heard that. That was controversy.
That was an interesting book for me, and it kind of shows how dishonest people can be and how much people are willing to put into quote unquote faith. Not faith in terms of their relationship with God, but faith in like their belief in an idea.
Yeah.
And how powerful that is.
I agree.
So for me, relating it to my ideas and what I want to do, it's like faith. Like just it's weird, I know.
But with the truth.
But exactly, with the truth. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, rapid fire,
Strong motivator. Which one is a stronger motivator? Ambition or fear? For you?
Ambition.
Okay. If you could solve one problem overnight with a magic wand, solve that problem in St. Lucia, what would it be?
Yeah, man. Give everybody free healthcare and free quality healthcare.
Nice. Hardest thing about being far from home?
you don't get to see your friends and your family as much as you would like to.
One piece of advice you'd give your 17-year-old self.
Everything will be okay.
You see, same as me.
Yeah.
The first thought that went to your head when you had cancer.
Death. Serious? Yeah, death. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
today? What makes you feel most alive?
What makes me feel most alive?
Today.
Experiencing everything. Traveling, again, seeing loved ones, but also exploring the world. I like to travel too, you know.
Nice.
Anybody want to check out my Instagram? I'm
Big
really
up.
Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I
Quick plug.
go.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, traveling for real.
And that's not quick fire. We done. We done. Just one last question.
Yeah.
Did that experience make you kind of not just only appreciate life more, but make you make the most of every single day?
Yeah, for sure. 100%. I think it definitely made me want to, it sounds weird to say, but make my life worth something. Everyone's life is already
Yeah,
worth
man.
something, but it definitely made me want to do more and say, okay, I have an opportunity to be here, to live, to experience things, and I need to go do that.
Achieve
So-
your fullest potential.
Exactly. And full potential looks different for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not, for me, dependent upon whether I'm successful with making healthcare better here. I just think I have a life and I want to live it. So any
Yeah.
chance I get to go fly, see my friends, I'll go do it, regardless of what people at my work might think. Any chance I get to go travel and see a new country, I'd like to do it and talk to people and meet new people from different walks of life. Because that's what living is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Very.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah, man.
thank you for being here.
Yeah.
I really loved our conversation. It's been a while where I was so in
Yeah.
tune and
Yeah.
interested.
Yeah.
Normally, I just try and get it done,
Yeah.
stay consistent. But like, this was a really, really nice conversation. Not to say that our other guests would.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But you know,
obviously. Each
it
one
was
is-
different and it was very deep and you know,
Yeah.
yeah, man. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing that because, you know, it's not just for the entertainment. It's for other people that may be going through something, bro.
Yeah, that's true.
And like, just to know that there's somebody that's okay now. You know, there's somebody
That
that's
happens.
actually living life.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, accomplishing things and that still have big dreams
Right,
and all that
right,
kind of thing. Like, we contributing to that too. And yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much for being there. So,
Thank
guys,
you for this.
unfortunately, we've come to the end of this episode. We've come to the end of the show. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment,
Yeah.
all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Follow I'm Really Anthony.
Yeah. Big up Nukiva.
Follow Nakiva,
Pay
follow Free
attention.
Flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you.
Peace.